Give them a shot to do what?
Off the ground and couldn't taste right for a week. So on this episode, we are going to go over the good, bad, and fugly from the playoffs, NHL and NBA. We'll predict the starting quarterbacks for some of these QB needy teams out in the world. And finally, we'll talk about something important in baseball. No, the Mets not only being dominant, but we'll skip that. But should there be a neutral site World Series? I don't know. We'll find out next. Sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports, presented by the Give Us a Shot Network, powered by Fast Break Coffee, and sponsored, as always, Bert, by the Hate. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the first timers, last timers, hate watchers, YouTube viewership, podcast listenership, and the social media ship out there. Bert, what's up, man?
Yo, I have to, in true honesty of this show, I have to tell you that over the weekend, my kids are now fully into sports, which is fantastic. My son playing baseball, had a game today, did great. My daughter into hockey, which I'm fucking loving right now. So we just got her some new skates last week, and she has a learn to play hockey clinic on Sunday mornings that she goes to at 8 a.m. in the mornings. But Saturday, she's like, I want to try out my skates just to make sure that I feel good on my feet for Sunday. I said, great plan. After your brother's baseball game, we'll go do it. We'll test it out. I have my own skates, obviously, from just my own coaching that I did recently in my adulthood. So went over there with her, went to open skate, got her on her skates, got her equipment on so she gets used to it. The place is empty, dude. And I do what most people would do and hot dog it. You know, I'm with my daughter. I'm trying to make her laugh. I'm like doing the running man on skates, and dog, I ate shit so badly. I remember trying to like make her laugh and literally do like a running man on skates because they had music playing and stuff. And I felt my feet go whoop right up from under me.
No.
And I just, in slow, like you can feel it in slow motion. I was just like, yo, don't let your head hit the ice. Don't let your head hit the ice. And I hit my lower back so bad. Thankfully, no one was there, but I remember literally getting up going, you idiot, you had to do it. You had to try to show off in front of your 8-year-old, and this is where it led you to, dude. I even fell so hard, and I can't remember when. It was bad. So
the funny thing is, you tried to look cool in front of your daughter, and then you couldn't end up looking less cool.
I know.
That's funny how it works.
It was an important lesson, though, because I told her, you see, everyone falls.
Yeah,
and the best part about her falling is she has all of this equipment on, and not me. No.
See, Bert, that's how you do it. That's how you flip it into a life
properly rated.
Mile through the pain.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, I'm the best, and even I fall, so it's okay if you fall. See, that's Dad 101. To all you dads out there, take a lesson from Bert. He knows what's going on out here. He has the insight. I mean, I wouldn't even have thought it. I'd have been like, man, there's a hole in the ice. I would have made up some bullshit excuse. Like, I would have tried everything to put it on somebody but me, but not you. Accountability.
Man, I woke up Sunday morning and my right ass cheek was so bruised. I was like, this is so bad.
That's hilarious. What do you think of it? Did you see the Mammoth? Utah got their team name.
Love it. Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up because I didn't fit it into any of the NHL stuff. Yeah. But I'll be honest with you. The name, I love it. It's giving off a wild Predators. They were the Coyotes, and the logo I think is sick. I think it is the way they had the Mammoth look, and then with the mountains thrown in there too. I think it's great. I love that they're sticking kind of with the same color scheme too. I think the only thing I wanted to see is maybe laces on the jersey, like some other old school, but there's always room for an alternate. And I'm hoping with the alternate, they kind of bring a little bit of like the Phoenix Coyotes flair into it, to at least play
kind of to pay homage to the Coyotes.
Exactly. I will say I love the one sweater that has the Mammoth logo on it. The other sweater that just says Utah. My only criticism is if you're gonna do the diagonal lettering that is made famous by the New York Rangers, my New York Rangers, and then of course Pittsburgh has their Pittsburgh diagonal too. I think it's a classic look to a jersey. My only criticism would be rather than just have Utah in the diagonal, I would have loved to see Mammoth instead. That's it. But other
Yeah,
than that,
I mean,
I think
I like that. I mean, and they're sticking. I mean, it's not very much different than the standard Utah Hockey Club that they were using, other than the fact that they put the Mammoth, logo symbol on there, which is awesome. Obviously, paying homage to the mountain ranges out there and in the Mammoth Head. People who didn't understand why they went with Mammoth, the woolly mammoths, the first woolly mammoths discovered in America, were in, you guessed it, Utah. So Mammoth makes sense, kind of like the Seattle Kraken, paying homage to the area. And right now they only have the black and white. I'm gonna assume the Mammoth, like you were talking about, is probably going to be the sky blue, because that's the secondary color that's within their thing. I like the secondary logo too, with the state of Utah with the hockey stick going through it.
Yeah, it's clean.
And then they have the U with the mammoth swoosh, like the mammoth tusk in the U. So that I could see that being, because on their official website that's on a sky blue backdrop. So I can see that being on a logo for them. So shout out to Utah hockey team, formerly the Utah hockey team, and now the Utah Mammoth, which I'm assuming is going to start next year, considering that they
yeah, it will. They've already I remember reading they like soft launched some merchandise, but over the summer they're doing a full release.
Cool, sweet. So shout out them. Hashtag Tusks Up apparently is the hashtag for your Utah Mammoth. All right, Bert, let's get into the good, bad, and fugly from the NBA and NHL playoffs.
Yeah.
I'll start with my good because it's recent. Tyrese Halliburton, Indiana Pacers, up 2-0 on the my pick to go to the NBA Finals. And it's not that the Pacers are up 2-0. It's the way they're doing it. Huge come from behind wins. The Pacers had no business winning that game. And the reason why it's getting my good is because not only are they comeback wins, and everybody's a fan of comeback wins, it's that Tyrese Halliburton, who was voted the most overrated player in the league by his peers, had 2 come from behind wins with 2 game-winning shots. This season, he's 10 of 11 in game-tying or game-winning shots this season, including the playoffs. He is the definition of clutch player. And then he did the big ball celebration, which I love. And then obviously he had his Kirk Cousins, you like that moment, where he sat at the podium and said, overrate that, because the crowd was chanting overrated at him during the game. And it got to a point where Donovan Mitchell, and God bless Donovan Mitchell's heart, he did everything he could. He had like 45 points. He was gassed at the end of the game. But you can't let a lead, you can't let a double-digit, a 20-point lead slip away in the last 5 minutes of a game. Like it can't happen. So my good is going to Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers.
My good goes to 2 Game 7s, 2 comeback victories for what I think the better team. And look, I sat here during the first round and I basically said the Jets are going to take it and that Dallas is a scrappy team and they're absolutely going to beat the Avalanche too. And that's exactly what happened. But I think was so exciting in not only the fact that they were Game 7s, but Dallas was down 2-0 going into the third, scored 4 unanswered goals in regulation to move on. The Winnipeg Jets game on Sunday night was probably the most exciting piece of hockey I've watched since last year when the Rangers came back and beat your Hurricanes in Game 6. Game 5, Game 6. So the Jets game was unreal. And I mean, I remember watching when they pulled the goalie with under 3 minutes, got the extra skater, made it 3-2. And then with 1.6 seconds left, tied the game, and then an exciting second OT win for the Jets in itself. So keeping the best team in hockey alive in the playoffs, now playing their Game 1 tonight. Cannot wait to see how they come out. Both of those teams, the Jets and the Stars facing off against each other. This is probably going to be my series to watch in the second round. I think it's going to go back and forth 100%. The Jets have the better team, but man, Dallas is absolutely scrappy, and I can see them taking it too. So I'll get into my picks a little bit later on, but man, my good goes to exciting weekend hockey.
My bad is the Steph Curry injury. He got it. Now, listen, the Warriors won the game against the Timberwolves, even with Steph Curry missing half the game. But now the news came out that, excuse me, that he's going to be missing multiple games, possibly at least 2, which is bad. And the interesting is all the road teams opened up the second round by winning. So none of the home teams won.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Timberwolves, who, put out LeBron James and the Lakers, lost that game that, really wasn't that competitive, but now they have Steph Curry, a series that looked like it would probably be over in 4 or 5 games. If Steph Curry is what's reported is going to be missing it, could breathe some life into the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it's unfortunate that Steph Curry got injured during the game. I wish Steph Curry could get the treatment LeBron does, like get the injuries after they get bounced out of the playoffs and then talk about an injury that nobody ever heard of before. All of a sudden, LeBron had tore both his ACLs, and that's why the Lakers lost. No, Steph Curry said, "Nah, man, I'm hurt. He's been hurt. His thumb is." People were showing pictures of his thumb, which was like ballooned up. So yeah, now he has a hamstring injury. So obviously, for a point guard and a speedy small point guard, you need your hamstrings to run up and down the court, especially as a jump shooter like Steph. So my bad is going to the future of the Warriors playoff. Considering that they may not have Steph Curry for some important games in the series.
Yeah, I mean, look, in keeping on your trend with the bad and going with an injury report, my bad is in game 1 of the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Florida Panthers series for the second round of the playoffs. Anthony Stolarz out with an injury halfway through the game, took a puck to the mask, shook it off, retied his mask up, was later seen puking on the bench. Never a good sign. Played a little bit after that, and then was kind of like sneakily elbowed by Sam Bennett along the way. And look, there's one thing about Toronto is not only they have the firepower, they had great goaltending in Stolarz. He's out currently for game 2. They are right now winning 3-2, but they're going to have to show up consistently. And I say that because although there are pieces of their offense that's certainly firing on all cylinders, they need a lot of help from their main guy. They need Tavares to step up. They need Austin Matthews to get in there too and really seal the deal. Toronto definitely needs to continue to get physical if they're going to take this series, which I have them doing. But to lose a goaltender to injury who had the best save percentage in the regular season, I know there's an asterisk, hockey fans, because he did only play 20 games, but still great showing out there. I will say I'll put him right up there. If not, I'll have to put Connor Hellebuck up there too from the Jets because he did play 32 games. He also had the most shutouts this season too. So he probably ranks 1, but Stolarz is definitely 2. And what's going to get you far into playoffs, and as a Ranger fan, I know this, is goaltending, second to goal scoring. So hoping that there's a recovery there. Otherwise, Toronto is really going to have to be just as scrappy as the Panthers are if they want to make it past them into the Eastern Conference Final.
My Fugly Bert is James Harden. Nothing made me happier than seeing this bum get bounced out of the playoffs yet again. Bert, this guy, another disappointing exit, and his history in elimination games is like the polar opposite of what you want in a star. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and I put this on socials. James Harden's time as a NBA superstar to me is over. And he should now be transitioning and only be viewed and looked at and paid as a role player.
Yeah.
James Harden will win you a lot of games in the regular season. But at this point, the book is out on him. His game, he can't play a style of game that is conducive to meaningful winning. And this is not my opinion. Watch his career. He is a great basketball player, and he will undoubtedly go to the Hall of Fame and should be there. But we have seen he is of the Carmelo Anthony, Steve Francis, these guys who are just tremendous basketball players, but that doesn't make you a great NBA player, because it takes more to succeed at the professional level than just being good or great individually. His style of play must change for a team to win. He can't be the guy. And then when you are relied on, you can't have 7 points in an elimination game 7. Nothing you does matter up until then, when you can't show up when you are asked to, if you want to be treated as a superstar. And I've said this when James Harden came to Philly. I said, all right, y'all, like, this is cool, but I'm telling y'all now, don't put all your eggs in the James Harden basket. We know what this guy is. Oh, no, you're hating. No, I'm not. I'm watching the game.
Well, you were with cause.
I was with cause,
Yeah.
But I am always knowing, Bert. That's the point.
Yeah.
You can appreciate a player for his skills and recognize he's good, but also say, but he simply can't perform well when his team faces elimination. Both things can be true. And so you want to be paid and treated. And that was his whole thing in Philly. He wanted to be the guy. He wanted, Daryl Morey's not allowing me to play the way I want to play. I got to do this. I got to take back seats. Well, yeah, no shit, because the way you've been doing it hasn't helped you win so far. How about you try it a different way? How about you try being a team player? So I don't care if you have a bunch of assists. That doesn't mean anything. Anybody can dribble around and draw a double team and just dump it off 2 feet in front of the basket and let your center dunk the ball. Like, your assists aren't John Stockton assists, but people get so enticed with the box score and thinks that just because you have a lot of steals doesn't make you a good defender. Just means that you've pinpointed some steals. So, yeah, the Fugly is just another James Harden just collapse, disappearance. Kawhi Leonard, again, wasn't healthy. Probably the most healthiest he's been all year, and most healthy that the Clippers have been all year. And they were my dark horse favorite to win, because I thought James Harden could pull it together because he had a Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard had 30, 40-point games, all 7 games. He did everything he could do, and what he couldn't do is rely on his partner, James Harden, and now the Clippers are sitting at home. So that's my Fugly.
You're going to love this one. My Fugly goes to the Washington Capitals and how they showed up game 1 against your Carolina Hurricanes. And I don't mean that comment to take away from the effort of Carolina. They definitely played better hockey. It's Fugly for me because you have not only the greatest goaltender or greatest goal scorer in NHL history on your team, but you also had home ice advantage in opening it up too. And not only did you get out hit, but you also got outshot 33-14.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you're playing, win or go home series hockey here to try to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You're the better team on paper, so to speak, although I would say they're evenly matched up, and it probably would have been worse than an overtime loss 2-1 if it wasn't for Logan Thompson. And I know that, that's obviously easy to say. He's the goaltender for Washington, but the fact that he bailed out that entire team that gave such a lackluster effort in coming out of the gate. Game 1, look, it's a long series, but game 1 at home, you have to set the tone. And if the Capitals are going to compete, they're going to have to do better. And maybe we'll see a little bit better tomorrow night. Who knows? I will say I have Carolina in 7 though. But overall, it's going to take the same amount of shots, the same amount of hits, if not more. And it's also going to take Carolina staying out of the box and not giving Ovi any opportunity on the power play to put it in the back of the net. But Fugly all around for playoff hockey in the second round. And this has been a while since Washington has made it to the second round of the playoffs. I get it. Still got 6 games left to correct if need be, but we're going to have to see something more. It was just not good hockey to watch.
Say his name, Bert. Sebastian Aho. All the way to Lord Stanley Cup.
Yeah. The Hurricanes, they have threats all over, whether it's Aho, Slavin, Seth Jarvis too, take your pick. They are nasty.
You know what else is nasty, Bert?
What's that?
The quarterback situation around some of the teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
Your New York Giants.
Yeah.
All right. So, in terms of when your plan is Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, I'm going to go ahead and say that you're not in the best position. And when you look around the NFL, there's probably at least
We
4
signed them a
teams.
week apart. Why not?
Yeah. Like, and this is like, to me, off the top, 4 teams that clearly have no idea who their starting quarterback is going to be or what their plan is beyond 2025. The Steelers are probably hoping for Aaron Rodgers, but they don't have him yet. The Browns have 4 quarterbacks that are going to battle for one spot. One of them is probably going to be gone before the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints have Derek Carr, but he's probably going to miss a chunk of the season. And the Colts don't know if the guy they just drafted, is the guy. I mean, they've been trying to replace Andrew Luck since Andrew Luck left. Like, it's just, they're just taking a bunch of swings and they're not working out. So let's start with the big team. I guess the most interesting team, and that's the Cleveland Browns. You have Joe Flacco, you have Kenny Pickett, you have Shedeur Sanders, you have Dylan Gabriel. And technically you have Deshaun Watson, who's not going to miss the entire season, but if you listen to some of the reports, that the Browns are probably entertaining buying him out. So
correct.
He may not even be on the team, and they should.
They shouldn't have even offered him that deal. Let's be honest here, but they are known for making terrible decisions, and this is right up there with it.
I don't believe in absolutism. I wouldn't have gave him the deal. I understand the thought process, and it just didn't work. But now you're at a point now, and I can even give you the first year where he got injured, because he was at that point away from the game for 2 years. He wasn't going to all of a sudden be the great quarterback he was before all the stuff happened and before he got injured.
Yeah, but it was the guarantee, though, dude.
You don't guarantee a guy.
Yeah, that's
So and now it's even worse. Like, he's never going to be that guy again. And now it's just too much. So you do have to cut him. You're going to eat the money anyway. Just get him off your team and at least get the bad juju off your team, so you can really focus on the future. So who do you think will start week 1 for the Cleveland Browns?
Week 1, we will see Joe Flacco start for the Cleveland Browns. I think it's as simple as that. And I know they're playing coy and they're not naming a starter, and I think that's because they truly don't know. But if I am going to put my faith in starting out, it's going to be a guy that had not only been there before, but has won a Super Bowl before, and has even led that team in the playoffs before too. So there's no doubt that whether it's Gabriel, Shedeur, or Kenny Pickett, they might have great camps. For a fact, you're not going to see 4 QBs on that roster. Right. We'll probably obviously see 3, we will see 4, 1 on the practice squad, right? But if I had to bet, I would guarantee that Joe Flacco is going to be in a starting position. I think Kenny Pickett's going to do a really good job competing for it. I just don't think they're going to roll with him. It's probably going to be very similar to kind of like the Russ situation in Pittsburgh last year, where they're going to roll with the veteran first and then see what happens. And then Shedeur, I think, is going to have a really good camp. I just think they're gonna have him sit and wait, which is what they should do.
I do believe Joe Flacco will start week 1. I don't think he's going to start the entire season. If the Browns are under 500 by the bye week, I think for Shedeur Sanders, if Kenny Pickett starts, the rush from fans to start Shedeur will come a lot sooner and be a lot louder if Kenny Pickett's starting. And I think the fans will be willing to be more patient if Joe Flacco's starting, because he's a Super Bowl champion. He's a veteran, and they were winning with him before. But again, if they're not in a position to really do anything by their bye week, or halfway through the season, whatever you want to say, or if it starts out the gate ugly, then I think you're going to start hearing those Shedeur Sanders. I don't think there's a chance that Dylan Gabriel beats Shedeur Sanders out. I don't care what anybody says. I also think that Pickett will likely be cut or ask for a release, because he's not going to win the starting job. He wants to go there and start. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's in a bad spot for him. And I don't think he has much wiggle room. You're either going to start, or you're just going to start until Shedeur's ready, period. And I don't think, and Kenny Pickett, being in the league, 3-4 years now, that's not what he's signing up for. So I get it. I would understand if Pickett felt that way, but Gabriel or Sanders will compete to be the Gabriel and Sanders will compete to be the backup, but one of them will eventually be the starter, or at least given the opportunity to start, to see if they're the guy. Yeah. And then one of them will be the backup. And then, that'll just be that when next man up when Flacco falters like he usually does. Because he's not the guy to carry you through the whole season anymore. But yeah,
I mean,
with
he
you there.
can. He's just not. He's not built like Brady was, right?
No.
He's 40 years old. He's sure he might have some mileage on him, but I mean, you got to remember, we thought he was sunsetting his career 2 seasons ago, and here he is, still making it happen.
The Indianapolis Colts have Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, some guy named Riley Leonard, and Jason Bean. They have 4 quarterbacks. Who do you think is going to start week 1 for the Colts?
I think they have to give Richardson another shot too. And I know I keep seeing these dumb videos of Daniel Jones making a crisp pass.
No. You didn't see Daniel Jones. You saw Danny Dimes.
There's Danny Dimes with no pressure, being all the time in the world to throw the pass he wants to throw. That's the difference. And sure, maybe it's the Giant fan in me that doesn't want him to get the starting job and be successful, because he couldn't do that for us, except for 1 season. But I do think they have to run it back with Anthony Richardson. Try not to let the injury mindset kind of come into play with his inconsistent performance overall. I know last year he only had 8 touchdowns. I think it was like 47 completion percentage, but run him through camp, have him start. And then if you need to go to Daniel Jones, go to Daniel Jones.
I feel the same way about the Colts situation, the same way I feel about the Browns. I think it's Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard. I think it's in their best interest that Anthony Richardson starts, just because of his draft position being 4th overall. But he is the most talented, the most tenured guy.
Yeah.
But Daniel Jones, you know what I mean? Like that, they brought Daniel Jones in for a reason. Like there's something there that they feel like they can work with.
And it's like Minnesota Sam Darnold backing last year,
Right.
like he's there and maybe he has second life, but start with someone else.
Yeah, and you're not bringing a guy like, and Daniel Jones, simply because he played for the Giants, is a high-profile guy.
Yeah,
and you don't bring in a guy like that if you don't intend to at least give him a chance to start. And so Daniel Jones might. We've seen Anthony Richardson. He's been replaced and benched for Gardner Minshew and all these. Like we've seen the book. So unless he takes some great stride and changes his game, maybe Daniel Jones is the type of quarterback that's better for the Colts. Maybe it's the system. Maybe Shane Steichen can work with Daniel Jones a little bit better than Anthony Richardson, and maybe this is just a situation where Anthony Richardson needs to go somewhere else. It could just be a bad mix of coaching philosophy and player talent. And not saying that Daniel Jones is like some hidden gem. I'm just saying, we've seen. I don't like to judge people from one situation moving to a completely different one. We've seen too many times where guys were like, "Oh, this guy's a bum," or Baker Mayfield's a perfect example of that. We thought this guy was a bust, even though he won with Cleveland, and we were like, "Oh, I don't know why Cleveland moved on from him." And then he had a bunch of pit stops, and he's just like, "Oh, he's just a guy." And here he is, probably one of the 5, 6, 7 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So you always give a guy. Sometimes a guy just needs to get recycled, and Daniel Jones, sat with Minnesota, which was a winning franchise, and learned from that system. Now he's with the Colts, fresh start, fresh trainers, fresh coach. So I'm expecting Daniel Jones to start some game, and not because of injury. I think, and I don't know, maybe it's going to be hard for him to win the job outright because Anthony Richardson will always have that benefit of the doubt slider, right?
Yeah.
So unless Daniel Jones comes out looking like Joe Montana, chances of him just straight up beating Anthony Richardson, it's not going to really matter what he does in the preseason. You know what I mean? So unless Richardson just looks like complete garbage compared to Jones, which
that's the thing, right? I think you said it perfectly. Richardson has the benefit of the doubt. It's also presumed that by every Colts fan you talk to that he is going to win the job. I think the only thing to stop it is if he looks like absolute booty cheeks in preseason, and Daniel Jones for some reason looks better. I think they'll still roll with it. I think management and coaching staff is doing what they always do. They want to foster competition, and they're like, we're not naming a starter yet. Could be anybody's job. We just paid $14 million for Daniel Jones, so why not give him a shot at it too? I do think they're probably still leaning with Richardson right now, regardless, but they want to make it a competitive camp and see who rises to the occasion. And you did say it could have been a system thing. Daniel Jones maybe did not work out in New York with the 3 different coaches he had throughout his tenure. Maybe this is going to be different. I have a hard time seeing that, probably because of my fandom, but who knows? I'm still sticking with the fact that it's going to be Richardson starting.
The last I read, now this was right beginning, like, voluntary OTAs. Shane Steichen did say that Jones and Richardson will split first team reps in OTAs. So if you're reading tea leaves like that, then they're obviously willing to give Jones every opportunity to take the job. Again, I'm with you. I'm more confident in saying that Richardson will start, but again, not only will Richardson will start, but I guarantee you Daniel Jones will start more games in 2025 than Richardson. I'll put it like that. He may not start the season, but he will start more games than Richardson, and I think I'd put a significant amount on that.
Yeah, I think that's plenty fair, right?
Yeah.
It's to finish it up. No matter what starter they go with, they're going to be on a short leash.
Yeah. Yes, facts. If Daniel Jones ends up starting, he's going to be on a short leash, and it'll be Richardson most of the way, and then vice versa. All right, main event time, Bert. Your New York Football Giants.
Jesus. Yeah.
Take your pick, man. I mean, Tommy DeVito wants out of there. That was my dark horse. And so Tommy DeVito and his weird little Guido manager, whatever they're doing, little Tony, whatever his name is.
I don't even know his name. I just know he looked like he walked off the set of The Godfather as an extra. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
He looks like that's a fun game. What's his role? Like, picture him. What is he in the mafia family? Like, what's his role? Right. I picture him. He's like the annoying little, like the cousin of like the youngest aunt that is just he tags along. He's not really part of the cousin crew, but because he's family. Yeah, all the hand-me-downs. They give him the worst job. Like, hey, watch the door. Like that's your job. Just
and they always he's always a scapegoat. They'll blame it on him 100% of the time.
100%. Who's starting?
Knowing our coach, it's gonna be Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Brian Daboll is craving veteran presence and consistency. And say what you want about Russ, he gives you both of those things. I think in coming into coach Daniel Jones after being in Buffalo for so long and seeing what Josh Allen has done, Daboll wants someone more that speed. And don't get it twisted. I'm not comparing Russell Wilson to Josh Allen outright, but I'm comparing from a coaching standpoint. You want someone that has a higher football IQ and knows the game a little bit better. And who's the better to do it than Russ, who has a Super Bowl, has been there a couple of times too, knows what it's like to win and knows what it's like to work with several different coaches. And he's still a reliable quarterback too. But if anything, despite the fact that Giants management and coaching staff is saying it's anybody's game, just like everybody we've talked to, my bet is come week 1, they're going to go with the guy they're paying $23 million versus the guy they're paying $10 million or so on. So I would bet it's Russ, unless obviously barring injury or just an absolute shit camp, but it's going to be Russell Wilson. Jameis is decent, but Jameis is always going to be a backup quarterback in my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, listen, Russ, 10-time Pro Bowler. He's a Super Bowl champ, and he's easily the most accomplished quarterback, but this is a what have you done for me lately league, right? He did really well in Pittsburgh, I think, at least to start, and it kind of faded. Was that all him? He didn't play as well, but to me, the whole team kind of just as a unit just kind of slipped away towards the end of the season. I don't know what that was about. Obviously, Russell Wilson didn't. I think he was 6-1 in the first 7 games, and then he lost like the last 5 that he played. Everything went down: completion percentage, yards, passer rating, like all of it. I'm with you. Jameis Winston is the ultimate gift and the curse. You don't know if you're going to get a 4-touchdown game or a 4-interception game.
But a great locker room guy, one way or another.
100%. And a guy that I wouldn't be mad if he was on my team as a backup quarterback. And if he had to go play a couple games, I wouldn't be mad if my main guy went down and I need Jameis for 4 or 5 games. I live with that. Like, now, do I want him carrying my, no, but I trust Jameis to get hot for 4 or 5 games at clip and just kind of keep us where we need to be. But you're right. Daboll and Joe Shine can't afford a Russian roulette quarterback like Jameis
Mhm.
Winston to start. Like, they need a steady hand. And you say
Keep
what
their
you want about
jobs this year.
to keep their
This is
job this
why
year.
they signed 3 quarterbacks in a month. Like, they don't get it twisted by any means. They are trying. This is their make or break year. If they have above 500 record, then they might keep their job another year. If not, it's lights out for both of them.
Yeah, I think it'd be unrealistic to say, hey, you got to go out there and win the division,
Yeah.
or make the playoffs, but you have to be in position to make the playoffs. You have to be in wild card contention, and the only way you miss out on it is just like math, like you lost more division games or some shit. Like,
Which is possible. I mean, you're in the
it is
same
possible.
division as the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Commanders. So and we know the Commanders had a huge year last year in defying expectation. Eagles Super Bowl champs. Dallas, I mean,
Just
they're
got George
Dallas.
Pickens
So
today.
they got George
Got it.
Pickens.
I mean, they might be back. I don't know, but I mean, I don't care. They're still the Cowboys. So, yeah, good, cool. You made to the playoffs. We know what's going to happen once you get there. So I'm not really worried about the Cowboys. I mean, we know the book is out on the Cowboys. We know that for sure. All right. Scott Bohr said something very interesting this past week, Bert. He brought up the idea of a neutral site World Series. And much like everybody else, I scoffed. And then I said, well, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
A neutral site World Series, not terrible. Hear me out. The Super Bowl is an event, right?
Correct. Yeah.
People from all over the world come and enjoy it. It builds the economy for the city it's in. And if you have a neutral site World Series, that's the next logical step to me for baseball to take the next level. Imagine it's going to be like the World Cup. You have it multiple games in one area, you build it up, have the World Series in one location, Miami, nice places. I don't want to travel to St. Louis, or I don't want to travel to these bullshit ass cities, but you have the World Series in the greatest stadiums, like the greatest places to play baseball, the World Series in the classic baseball stadiums around the country. You could build something for all I care, but you build the economy of the place, you make it an event, the advertising dollars. And I'm not speaking, trust me, I get the baseball purists aren't going to like that. And what do you do about the home field advantage? Screw that. Like, screw that home field advantage. Give them the last at bat. Give the quote unquote home team the last at bat, whatever you want to do. But you got to think bigger, man. Like, having the World Series in one area will also provide, you take away travel, we will get our players in the best, most optimum conditions possible if you keep it in a central site. And we can have a week-long party in one area. It would be amazing to have a neutral site World Series. And then again, you treat it like an event, like the NFL draft and the Super Bowl. It turns into a week-long event, but with baseball, because it'll be every other day, or every day. Now you can do it every day. So a week straight of baseball. Amazing stuff. Come on, Bert, jump on this train with me.
I'm 70% against this, and I'm leaving room for 30% as to why I think it could work out, which is what I'll finish up with. But this is fucking insanity to me. It works out for the Super Bowl for one reason and one reason only. It's one fucking game. It is one game that's played on the same size field, no matter where you play in the country. It's just a matter of whether you're playing indoors or outdoors. And baseball ruins that with their weird fucking rules that every field can be slightly different. And that's where the home field advantage comes into. It's easier to hit out a short porch at Yankee Stadium than it is in the Green Monster. We know these things. But if you're going to play 7 games in a series, an event like this, whether you're playing every day for a week, is not going to work out. Plus, the MLB doesn't have as big of a draw as the NFL does. They don't. Celebrities aren't going to travel to the World Series unless their team is in it, plain and simple. So it's not going to work out. It never is, unless, here comes the 30%. You change it to a 3-game series. It happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You change all specs to MLB fields to they're all the same size, or at least one. I mean, we could one field all the same size for this. And honestly, you do, like you said, you play in some of the hottest baseball cities. Keyword there, baseball cities, which means you're looking at LA, Chicago, New York, throw Boston in there too. You'd mentioned Miami, great party city, terrible baseball stadium, but and that's not voted by me because I've never been there before. But ask anybody else. Not the best ballpark to be in. But not only great baseball cities, great huge cities for people to travel to and make it an event as well. And we understand like the Super Bowl is the event and they have all this going on and they have this media and they have all these, they have the flag football games and everything else. Like, yeah, if you want to do that for the baseball, that's good too, but you're going to have more draw, especially if you are going to be playing in St. Louis, right? Or Kansas City. Again, nothing against those ballparks, but you have to give people a reason to travel there. Celebrities are going to want to go watch baseball 3 days in a row. So I understand where this idea came from, but it's just, again, unless you shorten the series, it's just not going to happen because you're talking about, and what if you get 2 small market teams that are in the finals? Who's going to go watch that shit?
So you brought that up. That's why a neutral site would help. It would undeniably grow the game of baseball, period. Like you turn anything into an event. The firefighter mustache makes you sound like you know baseball. Thanks. That was the whole point. But
from the top rope.
But the World Series should be as big as the Super Bowl, and it's not close. But if you make it a plannable event, Bert, where now you can make plans in advance because I have all season. I know where the World Series is going to be. I can plan all season. It don't matter who's in it. I can, because I'm not going again. I'm going for the event aspect. People are so stuck on the baseball part, they're forgetting about the business part. That's why you put them in cities where people want to travel to. Just like the Super Bowl. Hey, these cities bid for it because they know it brings in big dollars for the city. And I mean, who doesn't want a 7-game party? Nobody cares who the teams are. And when you get advertising dollars and you get big events, you know what you get alongside of that? Celebrities. You had Meg the Stallion twerking on the pitcher's mound. The match that could be 7 games of twerking
right before the first pitch. Yeah,
right before the first pitch, doing it amazingly. Imagine that 7 games of that in a row. You sign me up. And trust me, stars. These companies, they pay these celebrities to show up to events and go to these games. They don't really care. Like they don't know. You think the Kardashians know what the fuck the Anthony Edwards' free throw percentage is? No, they're just.
I mean, they might. Some of them are basketball fans.
No, they're fans of the basketball players. But they're there because it's LA or it's Miami or it's New York, and that's what you do there. So, like, yes, but then you put it in Milwaukee, the World Series in Milwaukee a year. You know what I mean? Like that will help them. That will help them undoubtedly. And also now you can plan for. And you can also make alterations to these stadiums a bit on some of them. Like you can change certain little things and make it work. But to me, it's no different than playing the All-Star game in different arenas every year. They make concessions all the time. But
yeah, but like,
I'm looking at it from a
different.
strictly business
season, right? And virtual. I mean, we've talked about this before. Those games are absolutely meaningless at this point. But I mean, what if you pick a site for the World Series? Like, let's say you pick New York, and then New York goes to the World Series. Then it becomes home field advantage. So what are you going to do?
Give them the last at bat.
So they always get the last at bat. But like we're talking you want to take away that feel of home field advantage. That's the same reason why the Super Bowl does it, right? Like it should be played at a neutral site, meaning that fans have to travel. There's none of this like, oh, we're only selling tickets to these fans, and we're only doing like no. So like, but if you
that's why that's terrible for baseball.
But if you name the site at the beginning of the season, and that team of that home hosting site ends up making it to the World Series, how can you adjust from that too? Now, if you want to build a stadium in a town that nobody has baseball in and do it Olympic style, do that. That's fine. Do the Field of Dreams field,
But I mean, if your team is in the World Series and again, you're gonna have to do some schedule changes here. Give some time. But like, if you find out your team is going to the World Series again for the Super Bowl, teams travel. Most of that stadium with Eagles fans. They traveled from all over.
Yeah,
and at a neutral site, you're getting like you're splitting profit between two stadiums instead of just giving one stadium every year in all of baseball. You want to talk about dollars going down. What would build the game and bring in more dollars than turning your biggest asset into an event? And like this notion of home field advantage is garbage, because what if the away team wins? Then it doesn't feel the same anyway. So like, what if they win in the 7th game and it's the away team? Like who cares? That shit happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a fan, you're going to travel just like the football players do, just like basketball does. They, travel to go see your team.
Yeah.
And make it
some
a
of
thing.
them do. Some of them do right now. There were
do.
some people flying New York to LA last year. A little crazy, but they were doing it.
But this is not a baseball specific thing. I think basketball should do it too. I think there should be, just like the All-Star game, move it to a different city every year and play all the games there. It's better for player health and safety. We'll get games faster. The World Series can be played in a faster amount of time. That way I don't have to wait every other day to watch these games. And it'll just be a better thing. And again, Bert, hear me out. 7 days of Meg the Stallion on the pitcher's mound. I mean, I don't know. You sound like the crazy one, not me.
I just don't see it how it works out. I don't. No.
Yeah, the baseball purists will never allow it to happen. The powers that be will never allow it to happen. I just thought it was an interesting.
After all of the advancements I've talked about with this sport.
Yeah, you sound like a purist. You sound like a get off my lawn purist. You sound like Angel Hernandez.
Oh, no.
You have a game ball you want to give out?
I do, and it's baseball related, believe it or not. But you have to give the game ball to Aaron Judge, and I don't see how you don't at this point, because not only is he drawing comparisons to one of the game's greatest hitters in Barry Bonds, but he also is leading the MLB in all hitting categories, starting with a .412 batting average. He's first in hits with 56. He is tied for first in RBIs with 34, right alongside Hernandez and your boy Pete Alonso. And he's also tied for first in home runs alongside Cal Raleigh and Kyle Schwarber. He is fucking dominating right now. And I just, as a baseball fan, you have to love it, unless you root for the Mets or the Red Sox. But as a Yankee fan, I mean, he's doing everything right in his captaincy and what we are paying him to do. So I hope he keeps on this trend. I hope he stays healthy, but it is exciting to watch him play.
WNBA season is starting, so I'm back on my bullshit, Bert. My first game ball to Caitlin Clark. Hey, well, the WNBA in general, they did something. They're doing something really smart. They are doing all their preseason games in the college stadiums that their star players played in.
Okay.
And so Caitlin Clark just played the Brazil national team in Iowa at the $10 million in revenue from that game, 1.3 million viewers, a record preseason WNBA record. So I mean, Clarkonomics.
Does that go to the university? Does some of it go to the university too?
I'm sure the university gets some kickback.
Yeah.
Game ball to the Knicks, because fuck the Celtics. The Knicks just beat the Boston. Yeah. Listen, as a Sixers fan, I hate the Knicks and the Celtics, but I hate the Celtics more than I hate the Knicks. And I fuck with, like, Mikal Bridges is a Philly native, so I wanted him to come to Philly. It sucks that Elton Brand and them boys traded him away on draft night for bum ass. I forgot who we traded him for, some bum. He's not even on the team anymore. Anyway, don't get me started on that. I like Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's cool, man. I don't like Karl-Anthony Towns. I think he's a bum. I think he's a sissy, and I don't think his style of play belongs in, like, the annals of time. Like, I don't think we should be talking about him as, like, a relevant player, but people like him for some reason. Because he cries a lot. He cries at, like, in movies and shit, and hugs bunnies, whatever. Loser. But yeah, shout out to the I'm not going to shout out the Knicks winning, but I'm going to shout out the Celtics losing. How's that?
Fair enough.
That's a fair comparison. But yeah, I mean, WNBA is back. Caitlin Clark, back on her bullshit. Got a nice team. Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hall. WNBA is growing. I know I think the Chicago Sky got Haley Van Lith, and then of course they have Angel Reese, and so they're always going to be a story. The new Golden State Valkyries just started. I know they started with a loss, but I mean, that's growth. It's a new team. We're gonna have the Toronto team, I think, next season. I'm not sure why there's not a Philly team yet. WNBA. I mean, hey, listen, you want me to keep talking women's basketball on this channel? you better bring me a team to Philly that I can be proud of, and make sure you steal Dawn Staley as its coach. That's my bold prediction that Philly will have a team within 3 years, and I'm talking announced, maybe not in play, but within 3 years, Philadelphia will have a WNBA team, and Dawn Staley will be the inaugural coach. Book it. Yeah, shout out to everybody. Thank you for stopping in with us. Me and Bert will be off next week because we got shit to do, and we'll be back in 2 weeks to see where we're at with the playoffs and see if anything exciting happens, and maybe that weirdo Aaron Rodgers will finally grace us with his presence in Pittsburgh. We'll find out.
I need to make a bold. I don't think he's going to sign anywhere until July.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't want to. That's the thing, though. Like, is it a camp thing, or because I don't think teams are going to expect him to go to training camp? Like, he's Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah, what are you waiting for, Aaron Rodgers? Heard he got married secretly. Like, he showed up somewhere with a wedding ring. Yeah, I didn't even know he had a girlfriend. But knowing him, he probably was like sitting out in the woods and was like, you know what? I'm married to myself. I'm married to my inner conscience. After he was licking toads and eating tree bark or whatever he's doing. Anyway, see you later, guys.